that, you know, if it's gonna, the analysis said it's only a couple $1 million to stand it up.
Peanuts.
And his response was, we want to do it in a different way. We don't want to do it through creating a whole new bureau. We want to do it through the UC system. Now, I am just the messenger.
Correct.
You know, I'm saying the same thing, like, wait, it doesn't cost that much to do it. Your department said it doesn't cost that much to do it.
Exactly.
Mama, finish your,
And I just want to finish. I want to say
Go for it,
to
go for it.
everybody, rhetoric, rhetoric, rhetoric.
Exactly.
Your example is in existence today. The Department of Fair Employment and Housing, they never gave it enough money to give it enough personnel to adjudicate all those claims for fair employment, discrimination, and housing. You've got to go all the way to San Francisco to get an interview because I walked into the building. I looked at the files. They're from the ceiling to the floor in 3 or 4 rooms. The Department of Finance never allocated. The governor, over the years, how long has this department been in existence, given the Department of Fair Employment and Housing? That's all we've ever been asking for. Enough money to adjudicate, investigate, or look into any claims of fair employment and housing. The department here in Sacramento just gives you a letter. That's all they can do because they don't have the personnel to investigate. They don't have the staff. So your example in Sankofa, look at the history. Go back, see what they was doing. Bring it to now. We have a
Mama.
living, breathing department.
Mama, let me get your next question. Yes, ma'am.
It's, you know, we're not dumb. We see what's going on, okay? So it's obviously an attempt to not have the Freedmen's Bureau be established.
That's right, that's right.
Every reason. We don't know that. Okay, so you, I know you're sitting here to just to deflect the questions and things like that.
I was not sitting here.
They're gonna do, and the main thing they're gonna do.
I came here on my own, I'm sorry. I'm going to interrupt you.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
sir. But let me finish this.
No, I'm going to interrupt you. No, I'm going to interrupt you.
Why are you getting upset?
I'm not upset at all.
Yes, you
No,
are.
I'm
Let her finish.
going to defend myself.
Okay, well, you can defend when she's done.
Let
You
her
gonna let her finish.
Let her finish. No, let her finish.
You let her
I
finish.
came here
You can defend when she's done.
to dialogue.
Okay, I'm sorry if I offended you.
I just want to be clear. I just want to be clear.
That's not gonna deter her. Let her finish speaking. Let her finish
Unless I hear
speaking.
you. I
So
promise.
what? Let her finish speaking. You're not deterring nobody.
You part of the problem.
So based upon what I'm seeing is happening, it's my personal opinion that the need for treatment, black folks to have a strong say in determining our steps forward, that is something that is not acceptable to Californians as a whole. And that's the reason why no Freedmen's Bureau, we're gonna funnel it through non-black entities to look at and to do whatever and water everything down. So we see this.
Thank
So
you.
We're not
Yeah,
happy.
we see the
And
play.
we're not gonna change on the direction that we're going with the bill to see if it's going, and it's gonna happen.
Okay.
Vote him out.
Yeah, but let me tell you
So-
something about UC Davis.
so-
Wait a minute, let me tell you something about UC Davis. They give UC Davis this funding. UC Davis is gonna,
Can I respond to her?
Yes.
Thank you.
And y'all need to be addressing that.
So, I came here on my own because I also feel like we should have a Freedmen's Bureau. I feel that way. And their response to me was, they wanted, they meaning the governor's office, they want to send it through the UC system. That's not my idea.
Were you grinning like you are in here?
That's not
And
my
telling them
idea.
that you was, they
That's
used to
not
be
my
quiet
idea.
and all of
That's
that?
not my idea.
Let's get rid of the governor. Let's get rid of the governor. Vote him out,
So I just
Commissioner.
wanted to address
Let
what
him
you said.
respond. We
I'm in
can be
agreement.
respectful.
As a staff
Yeah, we
person,
can ask whatever
I
questions
believe
you
we
want.
should have a Freedmen's Bureau to have the discussion about reparations
Exactly.
and who should get it and how they should get it and all of
That's
that.
been decided
I
already.
believe on that.
And also
That's already been decided.
Now, what's your question?
My question is, UC Davis.
He's speaking
Now,
for him, so that's why
UC
we're
Davis
addressing him.
knows who they are and how
Excellent
they have
point.
worked with people of color in the past. They know that. So they're gonna do a research. That research can go on indefinitely. And while it's going on, they're spending up all that money. So when it
Exactly.
comes around to us, there isn't any, maybe $1,000, maybe.
Thank you.
One of them? Yeah, but why is a university handling something which black people should be handling? They never wanted us in a position of power. They don't want us in a position of power. They want us underneath their feet. All the time.
Vote him out!
And bringing up a
Stay
university to control and decide and dictate who, where, and how. No, not when it comes to that. We have been through too much. We don't want an outside entity coming in and telling us. They've been telling us for 400 years.
Rory, I'm coming to you. Can I just
told
ask
him
a
the same
question
thing.
real
I
quick?
doubt it.
I told them the same
We're
thing.
not, we're
So,
not,
Sylvia,
we're
let me-
not.
We don't need a research.
Well,
We don't need
you
research.
to vote
We
and
don't
vote
need research.
these people out.
Exactly.
Vote in the people that are gonna do the right
Hold
thing.
on, hold on,
Exactly.
Leon. Simeon, let me ask you a question here too, and then Brother Mark, I'm gonna get you a couple questions too, brother. So, Zion, hold on, Zion. So, the question I have, and then Rory, I'm gonna come to you. So, so you are saying that the governor offered the amendments and that the governor is largely responsible. But the caucus itself had the power to take the bills up and decided not to. Your boss was one of the people who had the power to take the bills up and decided not to. So I have two questions. One, was there an internal meeting of the caucus on Friday night, the night before the final day, where the caucus voted internally whether or not to bring the bills up? And two, how did your boss vote? Did your boss vote to bring the bills up or not?
I was told it was a vote and it was 11-1, and Steve Bradford was the one.
The only one. So every other caucus member voted not to bring the bills up, except for Bradford. Okay.
Vote them or no?
Rory, I'm coming up.
Vote them or no? Thank you.
In other words, the house nigga win. Excuse my language, but the house nigga
Rory,
win.
is that Rory?
That's roaring. Confident in the building. That's roaring.
A lot of times I've had an opportunity to be with people to talk to the hospital.
Love
As
you,
a
man.
person who worked for Dr. Shirley Weather. That's right. And a person who worked for a black woman who stood for our people in the capital. And I can tell these two brothers, whether you like it or not, they have done the work for us too. But things happen politically. I remember when we worked for that young brother that was killed, and we got that bill for, thanks to all of you. All of you made that bill work. So they were against it all the way. Democrats and Republicans against it. Black kids shouldn't have been where they've been. Damn you. All I'm gonna say is this, with these two brothers who are my witness, we worked on that bill. I was a part of the committee, the original committee that was with Dr. Weber, to put the reparations together. I'll be damned if we go back. We got a national election that would could kill us all, and we got a local election. Dr. Flo represents the heart and soul of this community.
That's right.
You represent the heart and soul of this community and our history, and all of you, young and old. If it wasn't for all of you, we would not be here today. So whatever we have to do, as I already told Betty, my boss, NACP, But that inner city now. That's another story. That hurts me real hard. Hurts me real hard. Because this lady's done the work. All I'm gonna tell all of you is whatever Chris needs, we need to support him. We need to be there. Numbers do matter to the Capitol, believe it or not, that white building. And we walked all the way until we get it done. We get it done, y'all.
Get it done right.
This state was one vote. One vote, if you know your history, from the Confederacy. Why did they want California to be a Confederate? Because of the gold. It wasn't because of us, what we believed in. A priest was the one that was the last vote that said no. All I'm saying now, we gotta stand up this time. Because we don't stand up. Anybody see the movie Purge? That could be a reality. 1, 2, and 3. That's all I got to say. We gotta fight.
Thank you, Brother Lord. So what I want to do, first of all, Brother Marvell mentioned that tomorrow, Saturday, I believe I see the time is 9:30 now, if I'm not mistaken. 10?
9 o'clock.
So,
Get there at 9:30.
so 10:20.
It starts at 10 o'clock.
So
9:30.
1020 O Street tomorrow. The California Black Freedom Fund, which Brother Mark represents, and the California Legislative Black Caucus are holding State of Black California event. We want you there. We need you there.
9:30.
There will be
You gotta register.
So-
If you haven't registered, might be a challenge.
to attend the event, you need to register.
Yeah.
Where can they find the registration?
It's on,
It's on the flyer. If you need the flyer, I have the flyer.
Is it?
so has anybody registered?
I have, and I didn't receive a confirmation,
You haven't
email,
received-
no.
Well,
I
if you
didn't.
register, you're good.
Yeah.
If you haven't, that's a problem because, we're at capacity.
Can you register online?
The likelihood that, no, I mean, it's at capacity. I mean, there's a fire marshal situation there, and I don't control that. It's
Try it anyway.
It's a state building.
How much are you getting paid?
Try it anyway.
How much are you getting paid?
So
From that 12 mil?
what I want to listen. I know people. So Brother Mark is saying that it's at capacity. I'm telling people to go anyway. Okay? Show up anyway. Show up anyway. Okay. 1020 O Street, 10 a.m. Show up anyway. Make them turn you away. Okay? You have a right to
9:30.
So be there at 9. Okay? Be there at 9. Okay. 1020 O Street. Be there as early as possible. Okay. Brother Mark, can you? So I was going to ask you a couple questions, brother. Can you first tell people about what the California Black Freedom Fund is?
Yes.
And I'm gonna go to Betty. Then I got another question.
So the Black Freedom Fund is a special, okay. Good afternoon, people. My name is Mark Philpart. I don't live here, but I have spent over a decade working in Sacramento. I got my start in 2009 working with Roar and Rory in Assemblymember Sandra Swanson's office. I was an advocate supporting work with the Alliance for Boys and Men of Color. I did that work for over a decade, 12 years. We passed many successful policies. I know many of you in this room because of that work. The bill that was just described, AB 392, we were a co-sponsor on that bill. We were a part of many significant legislative milestones in the Capitol. And so I come from advocacy. I come from organizing. I come from the grassroots. I grew up in South Central, but I live in the Bay. So I represent all parts of the state. And the issues that y'all are describing are issues that are near and dear to me. I want to see reparations come to fruition too, just like you. I am no longer in a position where I'm doing day-to-day advocacy, so I'm not taking positions on bills. I lead a fund that's at a foundation. We are very focused on investing in Black power building. So for us, what that means is ensuring more of you and your voices are a part of the policy-making process. We know that too few of us are in places of power making decisions about things that actually have an impact on our lives and our community. So the Black Freedom Fund is investing in organizations.
So, I want to get to Ms. Betty's questions, but Mark, if I can ask you, brother, first of all, thank you for being here, first of all. Mark will be there tomorrow also, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
At
we're
the
co-hosting.
10,
We're
so
co-hosting,
Mark's group
yeah.
is co-hosting the event tomorrow, 1020 O Street. Be there at 9 a.m. Okay?
Get there early.
The question I have for you, Mark, is first of all, you just mentioned that you are investing in Black organizations to build Black power. Why are you not investing in our organization,
It's about you.
why are you not investing in the first and only state organization born for reparations
Exactly.
in
We
California?
didn't get
This is
an
about-
invitation to the
This is
Park
about,
Little Grant.
this is about reparations.
I'm investing in a lot of organizations that support reparations.
But there's no organization.
Lineage
that you-
based?
Hold on. There's no organization that you're investing in
Yeah.
that is specifically working for reparations. Is that correct?
I'm investing in several organizations that support reparations.
Are you, is there any organization that you are invested in are specifically, exclusively focused on reparations?
Exclusively, singularly, I don't know. They do a lot of different things. I can't say.
Okay.
It's over 140 organizations. I can't say off the top of my head.
Okay, so, thank you for answering the question.
I'm being honest.
Thank you for answering the question. Secondly, there has been $12 million put in the budget this year for reparations. So for those who don't know, this year the state passed a bill to put $12 million toward reparations implementation. So the question I have is, what is your organization's relationship to that funding? Is your organization attempting to get any of that funding?
No, we don't have a relationship with them.
Okay. So, just to clarify, so I'm clear, because when I spoke to Senator Lois Mobile-Cuevas' office about 3 weeks ago. When I spoke to Senator Mobile-Cuevas' office, they confirmed to me, they told me that there was a plan to give the Black Freedom Fund half of that reparations money. So is that correct, or were they not correct? Were they
That's more than the
informing me?
I suggest you talk back to it. Go back to it.
So that's not correct.
I told you my answer.
So the answer is no.
I said I'm not connected to that money.
Okay. So
We hope not.
one last question, and brother, thank you for answering the question first of all.
Yeah.
The last question is, I spoke to Senator Bradford's office that same day when I spoke to Lois Mobile-Cuevas' office. They told me that the Black Caucus sent a letter to the governor's office telling them what to do with that $12 million. In the letter it said, give half of the money to set the Freedmen's Bureau up and give the other half to the Black Freedom Fund.
Yeah.
Is that not true, or is that true? Is there a letter with your organization's name?
Yeah. There's a letter with my organization's name on it, but that is not an agreement between our organization
Thought you
and
didn't
the
know
caucus
nobody.
or the legislature. That is not an agreement.
But they trying to give it to
That's
you
a-
though.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
okay.
have a
What you just
standing-
said. That's what we
have a-
asking.
Talking in circles.
That's what we're asking. Are they trying to give you that 6 million?
Oh,
Very clearly.
I don't-
I know you hear me.
No, I didn't. I was trying to answer this young woman's question up front while you were screaming. And I
No, I'm
missed the
not screaming.
first-
I'm just
I
being
missed
loud
the
enough for
first
you
part
to
of
hear
your
me.
question. I missed the first
Yeah, I'm
part
not
of your question,
screaming.
so
Thank
I
you,
was asking
ma'am.
you to repeat yourself. Now that you have repeated yourself, I will answer your question.
Thank you.
Because
You answered it already.
You skipped the cue. Can I turn back to my sister up here? Can you repeat yourself? I'm sorry.
What I was saying was, even if you are, I'd rather them give it to you than give it to the universities.
But see, I don't want
No, we
it.
don't. No, we don't. No, we don't.
If they're money, they're gonna give it to because they still keep taking to themselves. The universities is not run by our But I'm saying again, even if
They said that 3 to 5 million is too much.
That's why we're gonna do this tomorrow.
Anytime they give you.
3 to 5 million is too much for a whole agency.
Family,
But he
You got questions for Mark?
said 3 to 5 million is too much for an agency.
We got comments, all right?
What is this?
That was loud.
I just want to make it clear, okay, because I got a little feedback about my presentation. And when the sister here was talking, and I walked to her, I wanted to make sure she understood it was her and I having a conversation, not all the rest. Okay? And some felt like that was threatening, and I'm going to tell you now, it was the exact opposite. If you felt that way, to you, I apologize. Okay? I apologize. Okay? Because that's my intention here is for the love and really to just provide the information, right? And so I just want to make that very clear. All right? That's all.
All right, and so we got another question here. Okay?
Yeah, I just
And then we're
want
gonna
to
wrap up
say
soon,
something.
okay? Yes, sir.
Everybody keeps throwing that word around, freedmen, see, but they don't realize Biden and Harris changed the terms of what freedmen mean last year. They changed the terms to mean everybody, it included everybody. The freedmen banks gave more money to the Asians than they did us last year. So that whole term has been changed. And if people want change, you're gonna have to come out your pocket. Cause it depends on who is financing the people that's running from office. If they ain't got none of your money, they not thinking about you, they going with the money.
So are the people getting the free health care, education, and
Yeah,
$150,000 on housing? Are they
changed
paying?
the whole term.
Ms. Zay, I'm gonna come to you. You want to say some comments, and then I want to take any other comments for Cindy and Mark, who they were not invited to be speakers, but they have come up to be speakers. All right? Oh, so I'm sorry, hold on. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Chris. First of all, you've done an awesome job, and the entire crew, we need to applaud you for all the work that you've done. So I want to thank that. And secondly, I just wanted to, I am the president of the National African American Civil Rights Organization, which is doing so to the polls with various restaurants where we're registering people to vote. And Queen of Sheba is one of those restaurants every Wednesday from 4 to 6. And Louisiana Heaven is another one on Tuesdays, 4 to 6, to register to vote. So, and there's other restaurants too, but I just wanted to put that plug in that we are using various restaurants. But my question is, with all the work that you've done, and we've talked about the Freedmen's Bureau, I thought there was another agency, because I haven't heard it discussed tonight, that was being considered for the Freedmen's Bureau. That was one. And two, when the amendments came in, I was told that the amendments didn't come in that night. They came in like a week. Still, they should have came in months before, but they came in like a week prior, and they were waiting on the negotiation. And I don't know if this is Simeon. August 26th? Okay, and so you guys may not have known that it had hit that earlier in the week because you were at the Capitol fighting, but those amendments had came, and I was told there was nothing said or there was no negotiations. So I didn't know who can answer the Freedmen's piece, and
I can answer part of that, and then I'll try to answer the other part too. So there was, from what we understand, there was another idea, another alternative to the Freedmen's Bureau being talked about through the year. So this was an idea to say, instead of creating a new Freedmen's Bureau, to take what the Freedmen's Bureau would do and put it in the Secretary of State's office, to allow the Secretary of State's office to do what the Freedmen's Bureau would do. We heard about that idea some months ago, but what we got from the governor's office was not that. There was no actual proposal from any legislators or from the governor's office to actually do that. So that was not under consideration, and that never actually came as a proposal in any amendments. As a matter of fact, the amendments were to create another study and give it to the UCs. So yes, there was another idea being talked about, but there was never any proposal to actually do that. The second part of the question is about when the amendments were actually presented from the governor's office. They were presented, so we learned about them that Wednesday when the bills were supposed to come up. From what I understand, they got to Bradford's desk the Friday before that, which I believe was the 26th or so. So that is still way too damn late.
That's right.
It's way too damn late, and the amendments themselves were insulting. Those were insulting. It's not even a serious offer. It was a non-starter. So they got them, from what I understand, that Friday before the bills were supposed to come up. But normally what you do is, or in the correct way, what you do is, you do amendments through the committee process, through the months and the months and the months of committees, through the votes in the policy committees and the appropriations committees. I didn't hear nothing about no problems with the bills until the last week of the season. Not until the last days. That's way too late. And the amendments themselves were insulting. We're not doing no more studies. We're not doing no more studies. Listen, as I mentioned earlier, our team went to every single one of the 256 hours of task force hearings. The whole study is public right now. There's an 1,100-page report with the study in it. It's available right now online, on our website, and other places too. We're actually reading the study every Thursday, 7 p.m. on YouTube. We read a piece of that 1,100-page report. So you don't have to read it yourself. There is already a study. So we're not doing no more studies. And the amendments that the governor presented did not have that offer. So I'm gonna give y'all some of the inside baseball here from what I was thinking. So we could consider an alternative to a whole new agency and maybe an office somewhere else. We could possibly consider that. But first, that was not offered. And secondly, we're not even gonna think or talk about that until we get the bill to the governor's desk. Then we could talk about whether or not we want to negotiate. But what happened was, we didn't even get the chance.
Right.
We didn't even get the chance. And it wasn't because of the white folks. It wasn't because of the Latinos. It wasn't because of the AAPIs. It wasn't because of the indigenous families. It wasn't because of anybody else but our own legislative black caucus.
100.
Our own caucus did not allow a vote on our own bills, on their own bills.
Vote them out.
Yep, they need to go.
Not one of the caucus members I heard through the whole term say, let's put this agency somewhere else. Here's an amendment. I don't like this part of the bill. I don't like that part of the bill. Not one of them. As a matter of fact, several of the caucus members have already voted for the bills in their different committees. So I was sitting there on June 11th when Assembly Member Tina McKenna of the Black Caucus and Assembly Member Isaac Bryan of the Black Caucus looked Senator Bradford in his eyes and said, thank you for bringing these bills, and then voted for the bills in their committee, only to 6 or 7 weeks later, not even want to bring the bills up. So, hope that answers the questions. And I'm going to get one here. I said, let me go here, because I want to get the brother, because he hasn't asked me yet.
This question is for Brother Mark with the California Black Freedom Fund. The meeting tomorrow, what is the meeting for? It's not about reparations, is it?
The meeting, should I take it?
Yeah, it does.
Is it better to have a mic?
Yeah. And what's up?
I gave it back to him, I wasn't sure about it.
Mike.
Please don't count.
So the meeting is to cover reparations. It is a collaboration between the Black Freedom Fund and the CLBC to talk about some of the reparations platform issues and policy items, as well as their comm strategy and some of the data that has been commissioned to, basically give people who are local a snapshot of what the data is on Black Californians in Sacramento.
And you said the event is probably already sold out.
Yes, I would encourage you to get there early.
Try it anyway.
I would encourage you to come anyway.
Okay.
But it is sold out.
Will you be
Registration ended today at 5. Yeah, I mean, it's been open. I mean, we've been doing these hearings since
we're
since
not a part
earlier
of
in the
those
summer.
140 organizations.
So we started in June in San Diego, Juneteenth weekend. We were in Santa Barbara, we were in Fresno, Sacramento, then Oakland is coming up after Sacramento, and then, and then Moreno Valley in October.
Will it be streamed?
Some of them have been streamed, not all of them. Tomorrow is not streamed.
Afterwards, they have a video, you gotta watch it. I love the one that's for Fresno.
Right, Fresno, yeah. That was the most recent, and San Diego.
So we got a question back here. All right, by the way, friends, we got about 10 more minutes. All right, 10 more minutes. We're gonna get you out and back to your live. One here, here, and here.
So when Chris asked about the letter that has your name or your organization's name on it, and before that you had said the money is not tied to you, then that's a little bit misleading because they're asking to give you $6 million or your organization, but you just said, or where's the other guy? He said that $3 to $5 million was too much for a whole agency, but $6 million is enough for you, for your organization.
I'm sorry, what's the question? What's the?
Well, it seemed like you were being misleading. We're asking about the $6 million that they are trying to give to your organization in the letter. The letter that has your organization's name on it.
I'm just waiting for the question.
All of that.
I'm trying to be
So,
very
well,
direct.
when we said, were you tied to the $6 million, you said no. You clearly said no, it's on video, right. So you said no, but then when we went a little bit further, he said, well, your organization's name is in the letter for about $6 million, like half to the school and then half to you. And then you're like, oh yeah, but it hasn't been voted on. So yeah, they're trying to give you $6 million. So I guess it's not a question, it might be a statement. $6 million is okay for your NGO, your organization, but it's not okay for an agency. $3 to $5 million isn't okay for an agency, it's even less than that. So then that's it, that's my statement. So now I have a question, because I don't do the Kaplan, it's not funny to me. This is ridiculous. And it seemed, well, I know you are, right, and I know you are, and then let me also make another statement. For people trying to act like someone is attacking these people, no. They came up here and said who they're representing. So yes, we have questions for them, and that is okay. Use your voice and ask questions. That is okay. It is not okay for them to come in here and be misleading, acting like they don't know what the $6 million is and he's not tied to it. But then when someone says, oh, well, it's in the letter, and then it's like, oh, yeah, well, it hasn't been allocated yet. Well, obviously it's being allocated to your org. And then the last thing is, what's going on with the lineage-based issue? Does your organization not support lineage-based reparations? And wait a minute, the reason that this question came up is because you said something about some data. You said, well, we're going to talk about the data that's been collected on Black Sacramento. How was that? The data is not disaggregated yet. So what kind of data do you have?
You go, mother, give it back to her.
No, I'm done.
Yeah, one over here. Let's brother Mo.
Yes, University of Southern California.
I don't want to, it was just a statement.
It was a rhetorical question?
Yeah, it was, because there's no data. The only place I have, if there's any state employees in here, I'm a state employee, and I'm trying to get people to make sure that you resurvey so that we can start collecting data for our people. The bill SB 189 has been passed, and so if you are and so if you are a state employee, you need to fill it out. Right now, there's 18,000 Black state employees, but they are reporting that 17,000 don't know who they are and do not want to answer the question. So if you are a state employee, or if you know somebody that is a state employee, please ask them to submit their form, resubmit it, and say who they are. Because all that's going to keep happening is these people are going to keep bringing data to the community that hasn't been disaggregated yet. So what is that data even talking about? It is not addressing our needs. Sorry. So I know that it's hurtful that everyone, these people have been so good for so many years. Well, I'm sorry. His organization does not deserve $6 million. Our agency deserves 3 to 5. His organization, let me repeat for those in the back that can't hear me. His organization does not deserve $6 million when our agency is being told $3 to $5 million, they can't have it, but it's peanuts. Sorry, that does not make no sense.
No, ain't no sense.
Vote them out.
Math ain't math.
Let me go here. Follow that, brother. Let me go here. We're gonna go to the young family over there. I think the young family got a question. Yes, sir.
Yes. I want to say that what we saw in the Capitol was a lot of foolishness and Samboism and tap dancing. They look like us, but they are not of us. Let's make that very clear. They look like us, but they are not of us. The economic warfare that our people face is not one that was self-inflicted. This is things that the government has strategically and systematically done to keep us as a permanent underclass. And one of the good things that California saw, and I was blessed to have this happen in my lifetime, is the same Capitol that the Black Panthers walked on. We were there. California forgot for a very long time. They haven't felt the force of Black power. And they're playing with something that should not be played with. Reparation is not something to be played with. And Gavin Newsom is learning very quickly that you cannot play with us because we're not going to play with you. One of the things I will also want to say is a lot of people don't know Gavin Newsom's winery got $4.4 million of a forgivable PPP loan that the average winery, his winery had 14 employees, and it got $4.4 million. The average winery in California that qualified for a PPP loan got 1.3, and one of them had 1.3, and they had typically 100 to 30 and up employees. So I'm not going to play with another man's money. Don't play with us. Do not play with us.
Come on, young man.
One of the things also too, we don't owe no one an apology. They owe us. I've seen the silliness and the foolishness and the laughing in our face. But I'm here to make sure that they put in their place. That 1,100-page report needs to be in every California school, and it needs to be taught. I don't think it's appropriate. I don't think it's appropriate for the descendants of slave masters to not have to teach the descendants of slaves what their forefathers had done and continue to do on the state level. They should be forced to teach that. So I'm going to say this. I'm tired of the black faces in high places. You see the symbolism. We see the symbolism, but now it's time for substance. And I'll land with that.
I really like the idea.
Yes, that's right.
I like the idea that the report should be in every school, and that is one of the bills that they can put in the package next year, and I think that should be pushed.
The DOJ, along with us, have paid for professors from UC Berkeley to create a curriculum. Curriculum is now being prepared to be introduced across the state. So your idea is actually being manifested this very moment.
They need to know the terrorism that this state has allowed to harm their parents. They should not be insulated from the consequences of the stuff that they have done. Matter of fact, they don't want us in the classroom teaching. And that's because people like me, they have purposely set up the system because they don't want us educating our own children. School choice is for us, and we have the right to exercise that. I have went through the school to prison pipeline. I've seen the system, and I've been through that. I was an IEP student, and they funneled me in through a subjective term saying that I have emotional disturbance. So I'm disturbed by the shit that this government continues to do to my people.
We'll go right to the young family. Then we're going to wrap up, family.
Hi. I just had a question. I'm not really sure if I even understand. I'm not really sure, but I've never came to these meetings before, so I don't really know what's going on. But I do know what's going on, and I am for it. But I just had a question. It's like, somebody told me that like the reparations were only going to possibly somebody who was a descendant of a slave or something else, I don't know. But I don't know if anybody else does, but isn't that like a little divisive? Because if you're not a descendant of a slave, you won't be receiving anything?
Absolutely.
You don't have the right to come in here. Don't fuck with me. Don't fuck with me. I don't give a fuck, bro. I don't give a fuck. My people are struggling. Don't fuck with me, you weirdo.
I mean, it's the truth, though. It's the truth. This is not a game. This is not a game.
Get your stupid
This is not a game.
Hey, hey.
I don't give a fuck.
Brother, okay? All right. Thank you for the question, brother, first of all. All right. Thank you for the question. All right. Have a seat. You good. You good. Thank you for the question. Let me help answer the brother question. Let me help answer the brother question. Let me help answer the
United States of America, and somewhere down the line, one of your family members was a slave.
Not necessarily.
Okay? Now you need to know what that means, and what slavery means, and how long it goes back. So I don't know what school you come from. They not teaching you, and this is what this young man just said. They're not being taught about this black history.
Yeah, we're not. That lineage battle is already over. Take that back. Take that back.
The brother asked a good question.
Mr. Freedom Fund, Mr. Freedom Fund, take that back.
Family, let me answer the brother question. The brother asked a good question. All right. Thank you for the question. All right. And thank you for being here. Okay. First. Second. So the brother asked, why is California's reparations effort, this particular effort, specifically for the people whose ancestors were enslaved and emancipated in this country? So one, to the question, is it divisive? Absolutely not.
Thank you.
Absolutely not. First of all, that's the first part of the answer. But let me give you more context. So I actually helped write part of the bill to create the California Reparations Task Force, specifically the part of the bill that talks about who it's for. So specifically, the bill to create the task force says this is a task force to study and develop reparations proposals with special consideration for African Americans who are descendants of persons who were enslaved in this country. So the first part of the answer to the question is this effort started specifically for the descendants of those who were enslaved in this country. That's the first part of the answer. That's how it started. Secondly, the author of the bill to create the task force, which was Dr. Shirley Weber, Secretary of State Dr. Shirley Weber, when she was asked, who did you write this for? She said, I wrote this specifically for those who are descendants of those who were enslaved in this country.
Amen.
Hold on. I'm just trying to give you some of the context about why it is the way it is. The task force in March of 2022 decided who would be eligible for reparations and basically affirmed all of what I just said, okay? So, part of why you cannot and we are not making this about people who are not descendants, because first, we are our own people. If you are a descendant of somebody whose ancestors were enslaved in this country, you are a part of a specific group of people. It is us who were promised reparations. It is, hold on. It is us, it is our ancestors who were promised reparations. Okay? Other groups, the Japanese Americans, the indigenous family, the Jewish survivors of the Holocaust, the 9/11 survivors, the people who were victims of forced sterilization in this state.
The undocumented today.
Every group gets reparations specifically for the group that's harmed. Every group gets reparations specifically for the group that's harmed. It ain't divisive if Japanese Americans got it for Japanese Americans. That wasn't it ain't divisive if indigenous brothers and sisters get it for them. It ain't divisive if our Jewish American brothers and sisters get it for them. It ain't divisive if we get it for us. Now let me give you another piece. There's no way to write any reparations that says you say you black and you get reparations. That is technically illegal and unconstitutional. What's divisive is to tell me that I gotta share my reparations with anybody.
That's right.
That's what's divisive. That's what's divisive. Now,
Thank you.
let me say this right now. I got a lot of family and a lot of friends and a lot of people who are immigrants to this country who are black. All right? We got a lot of family, a lot of friends, a lot of people who are immigrants to this country who are black. Some of them are in this room right now. Our black immigrant brothers and sisters, if they feel like they are due reparations, we encourage them to go get reparations. We're not going to stop them. But guess what also we're not going to do? We're also not going to say it's divisive for them to get theirs and not give it to us.
Right.
Thank you.
That's not, but if it ain't divisive for them to do it, it ain't divisive for us to do it either. Right? Now, I appreciate the question because it's a good question. We get that question a lot, and we're happy to answer that question. Thank you for answering that question. All right? And I want, listen, we're not in the position to tell groups whether they should or should not get their reparations. We fight for us. Okay? Now, you also know that lastly, when we get our reparations, that's good for everybody. Us getting ours is good for everybody. Okay? But guess what? We are not, and black folks who are descendants, I want you to understand, we are a specific, unique group of people. Okay? Don't mean we're better than nobody. Don't mean we're better than nobody. But we are specific, we are a unique, we are our own people. With 80 to 90% of anyone and everyone who calls themselves black or African American. We were promised the 40 acres and a mule. We were promised reparations, and it's for us. Okay? We're not sharing it with nobody. If other groups want to get reparations, please go get it. We may even help you if you ask. But what we're not going to do, is say, give us some of y'all's. And if you don't, it's divisive. We don't do that, and we are not going to do that. All right? Appreciate the question, brother. Appreciate the question.
Good answer, good answer. As always.
That's another piece. Put your hand up if you heard of Prop 209. Proposition 209. Put your hands up if you heard of the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution. We cannot write any kind of reparations bills that say this is for, quote, black people. That just says that only. From what the Supreme Court just said, but from what we've known for years, if we were to write a bill that says this is for people who say they black, period, the courts will strike it down, but I make the point we won't even get to the courts. Because it won't pass.
And they know this.
Nobody's going to vote for nothing who they know the courts are going to take down. Okay? So that's another reason why. There is a legal reason why, but there's also a moral reason why too. Okay? We have the right to fight for ourselves. We have the right to fight for something that's specific to us. Okay?
Amen.
So again, but I appreciate the question. I appreciate you for being here. All right, please keep coming back. All right, okay, all right, because your voice is important. All right, and you hear that from me. All right, your voice is important. All right, and we need our black immigrant brothers and sisters to support this fight. We need our black brothers and sisters who are black immigrants to support this fight. We need you to help us win. We're stronger if you help us win. All right, but it is not no division for us to say this is specifically for us.
Thank you.
It is absolutely not, okay? Every group does that. Every group does that. It's not sad.
It's just like, that's how the world is.
No, but it's not sad or unfortunate. It's what they're supposed to be doing. If you was a Japanese American who was interned and mass incarcerated, you're supposed to get reparations. Chinese Americans ain't supposed to get it because y'all might look alike.
Thank you.
Right? It ain't divisive for Japanese Americans to say, let me get reparations for the Japanese Americans. That's not right. But we have the same claim. The same claim. We are black Americans who are descendants of people who were enslaved in this country.
Yes.
We are fighting for reparations for our people. Period. We got to wrap up, family. I'm going to go here, and then I want to thank y'all for coming out on a Friday night because you could be doing anything. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
All right, so I want to clarify for you, I'm African, but I'm fighting for this reparation, and I don't feel this divisive. Actually, not only black people like me, even white people should fight. Asian, Spanish people need to fight for the African Americans who paid for it for 400 years. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be coming in here as immigrants doing what we do. So it's not divisive. In fact, it would benefit if African Americans do well, we all do well. African Americans thrive, black people, not only black people, everybody thrives. Because black people spend their money into business. Right now, the highest spenders are African Americans, but it's not coming back to them. At least the list, it should come back to them is through reparation. And when they say it's divisive, let alone African Americans and Africans, even Ethiopians and Nigerians are different. But they just jump us like as if the whole Africa is one. It's not. So don't feel that like, every black people should be getting reparations. No, African Americans paid for it and they need to get paid for that. Thank you. Right. But the question I have for you, for this agency, they say tomorrow the governor signs it. So who's going to be really responsible for that agency to be accountable? Because what is happening in our leadership, there is no agency or organization who can handle that type of money, like 12 million, or they say they give us whatever, 100 million, 200 million, tomorrow they say, okay, African American get that. So who's gonna handle that type of money? Do we have like a few organizations lining up to get that money to compete for that agency? So we can feel, I mean, even you can feel comfortable to say, okay, they can handle that.
Great question, and thank you for helping to respond to the young brother right there. We had a great question, okay? To your question, so the way the agency bill was written is that first, there would be a secretary of the agency who would be a cabinet level officer, and then the secretary would be nominated by the governor, but then would have to be approved and voted on and for by the state senate. If and when the agency does become real, which we expect the bill to create the agency to come back in less than 90 days. So when we do have an agency, the agency, originally in the agency, it had an office whose job it was to work with community organizations. So there was a part of the agency whose job it was to work with community organizations to do the things that the agency is supposed to do. So the agency technically is supposed to be working with community organizations. That was in the original language of the bill to create the agency. That language was taken out of the bill, unfortunately, and the task force itself debated for probably 2 or 3 hearings about what the role of community organizations need to be and should be in this new agency. 2 things came out of those talks. First, the state broke our people. The state is responsible for repairing our people. We are putting the burden of repair on the state itself, on the people who did the harm. So that's partly why we want a new state institution to do all of these things. Secondly, we also realize that a new state agency, a new state institution, cannot and probably should not do any of this alone. Okay? And so the task force, again, debated over 2 or 3 hearings, probably 2 or 3 months, about what the role of community organizations should be, and there would be inside the agency an office of community, whose job it would be to work specifically with community organizations to do those things. So, for example, part of the agency's job is to help you trace your ancestry to show that you are a descendant of someone who was enslaved in this country, to have an office of genealogy. But the state don't have no genealogists on the payroll. The state don't have no state genealogists, right? So part of what the office's job would be to work with community genealogy associations to do that work. So this is a relationship with the state and with the community organizations also. So when the state can't do something, they ask the community organizations to do it. That's how the bill was originally written. Of course not. Absolutely not. But so to answer the question, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But this is not about trusting the agency or trusting the government. This is about, one, putting the burden of repair back on the people who did the harming in the first place. That's part one. And it's also about trusting us as people and as community members. We're gonna have to be a part of this no matter what. You are gonna have to be a part of this new system no matter what, in some way. We cannot and we will not leave this effort to the government itself. But we must have a state institution whose job it is to do all of these things and work with the community to do it. So it's supposed to be a partnership between the community and the government itself. Right now, and the big problem right now is that we don't have no agency yet. So we have to set this agency up first, and then we can work with the community organizations. But what we don't want is for the state to just give the money to community organizations.
That's right.
We do not want that.
Or singular
Or
organization.
one, right? We do not want that.
Do we create that first and then ask them?
There
Because right now,
are many organizations,
there's
yeah.
no organization coming together and asking for that fund. So if they don't give individual funds like Mr. Mark, who's been doing, giving funds, so who are they gonna give?
So,
Because
yeah.
we're not that organization right now.
There will probably be many different organizations asked to participate in many different ways. Absolutely. Probably. That's how the bill was originally designed. Probably. But the general point is that has to be that it's supposed to be a partnership between the government itself and the community organizations themselves. But what we don't want this to happen, or what we don't want to happen, and what we're trying to prevent is for this to become an opportunity to fund people's community organizations.
Right.
Our reparations belong to us. To us. The reparations need to go directly to the people themselves. There's many community organizations, absolutely. Absolutely. Right.
All come together under one umbrella and put up on subsidies. And then every.
They can absolutely, so community organizations. Well, there are some. There are some. Now, I know you are working on one right now. Right, okay, right. So you are working on one, but there are others also. There's others across the state too. There will be multiple opportunities for community organizations to be involved. We are going to lead them, but what we are not going to do is give our ancestors inheritance to people to fund their own community organizations.
Yeah, right. That's why
There's no way that we can just rely on community organizations only. And the community organizations are, to be quite honest with you, are not equipped to do all of the things that we need done. So we need a whole new state institution to oversee and monitor and implement all of these things. We do not want this specifically and only to be done by community organizations. Okay, so great question. I know we're gonna come back to that. All right, of course, right. Family, I want to thank y'all. Okay, please put your hands together. Oh, go on.
Alright, so hopefully, a lot of people left, but everybody sign this? We need to get our head count, so if everybody sign this, it would be nice. I want to propose to you, those who are remaining here, who have a telephone, look up House Resolution HR 194. Google it, HR 194. And then look for where it says, apology to African American slaves. Look for that. And once you do that, then you'll see what the foundation for this movement really stands on. Is that the government in 2008 actually issued an apology for the atrocity of slavery. And you can look it up and you can see the 17 whereas where they admit the things that were done to us as people brought from Africa in servitude. So that's something, the foundation that you can draw from and share that with someone and share nothing else, because our numbers are going to have to reflect our drive. you're gonna have to be able to represent, be a part of in some way, or be a part of showing up like you did tonight, and we're gonna have to keep on doubling and redoubling our numbers and redoubling our efforts to make it clear that we're all in accordance with what reparations is supposed to represent to us. Now, I'm gonna plant this one last seed, and that is that we have had a difficult time working together. You know, by whatever diversions or whatever psychologies that have kept us from working together, but this is an opportunity with a goal that is worth working toward for us to come together. I'm talking about in vast numbers, in vast representation of our people. This is our opportunity, this is our pilot program to work together. And at the end of it, you get paid.
I think she's got a question for you, then we're gonna wrap up. Marvell. She's got a question for you, man.
My question is, it's a question and a statement. My statement, my question is, that did any of what's that?
You're talking to the mic.
Oh. Did any of the requests ask for money? Yes or no?
What request?
Any of the bills?
Yeah, he'll answer that.
The answer is yes.
31.
Yes.
Now, what I want to say is my statement. And my statement to that is, we really don't need, I feel, and this is just my opinion, I don't feel we don't need any money, because if you get ready to go buy a house, they're gonna raise the prices on the house, they're gonna raise the taxes on the house, they're gonna raise the car amount, the car insurance, everything's gonna go up, so they'll take your money in a minute. They have millionaires, California millionaires that become millionaires, like 4 or 5 dollars winning the lotto, and the next 2 or 3 years they broke. So sometimes it's not all about money. It's about, like you were saying, apologies, being respected, going into free education for our children, college education, health care, things like that that can be represented to us.
Thank you, sister. I'm going to wrap us up. I want to make a quick comment. So one, we got one last question?
Why was it blocking? I see, this brother, he actually got physical with,
the Republican Bill Asaley. So let me the question is why, so let me just give folks a little bit of quick context. I want to respond to the sister here too. Family, we are over time, right? So if you gotta go, no worries, there's pizza in the back, so please get some food on the way out, all right? But, right on, but to what the sister said first, they owe us money, they gotta pay us our money back. Okay? They owe us money, they gotta pay us our money back. And everything else too. So I want everything that they took. Everything that they took, they gotta give it back. That's just how it is. That's the first part. Second part, what the brother's talking about is, at the end of the day, on that Saturday, there was a Republican who attempted, because he wanted to make the Democrats look bad, he attempted to bring the reparations bills up himself. So a Republican saw all of us out there at the Capitol, mad at the Democrats, mad at the caucus, and said, I'm gonna make the Democrats look very bad right now, and I'm gonna try to introduce their own reparations bill and make them stop me. And that's exactly what happened. Republican Bill Asaley, who is not a supporter of reparations at all, he does not support reparations. He told us that to our face, but he said, y'all at least deserve a vote.
That's right.
He was right.
And he was damn right. He said, y'all at least deserve a vote. And he tried to bring the bills up, and what the brother is talking about is once he made the motion to bring the bills up, all kind of hell broke loose in the assembly, obviously, because the Democrats were like, what is he doing? And the Republicans were like, what is he doing? And at a certain point, there was a video that showed that it looked like Assembly Member Isaac Bryan of the Black Caucus was physically blocking Mr. Asaley from bringing the bills up. Now, Mr. Bryan says that he was not physically blocking him. That Mr. Bryan said it's impossible to physically block somebody. But there's a video circulating that shows Mr. Asaley trying to bring the Democrats' own reparations bill up, that Mr. Bryan and the other caucus members are co-authors of, and they stopped him from bringing their own bills up. Okay? So this is like 11:30, 10:30 at night, Saturday night. We were there till 1 in the morning.
Yes, we were.
1 in the morning. Yes, sir. 1 in the morning. We walked out the building. 12:30. We was in the car. 1 in the morning.
Yes, we were.
Okay? So that's what happened. But this is part of the problem, right? Because when the Democrats hurt their own people, they opened up opportunities for the Republicans to take advantage of it. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, could you imagine being in that building and they was ignoring us for the whole day. They said they're not bringing our bills up. They don't care how many people up there. They're not bringing the bills up. And then a Republican tries to bring the bills up. And then they block him. Okay? But it's all on video, it's all on record, and then the whole country saw it. And then the Republican Party used that. Fox News got the video, wrote a story, and was saying black folks stop voting for Democrats because they're blocking their own reparations bills. That's what happened. That's part of what was wrong and what happened last Saturday or the Saturday before last. So, thank you for the question. Family, go home, get safe, be safe, get some food, take food. I'm a vegan, I can't eat none of that pizza. Alright? So, well, you know why y'all here. So, please, yeah, I got to pull the cheese off. So, take some of that food. Thank you, family. No worries, no worries. Thank you very much, family.